Well, it's a Friday, and we are inside the Puck Sports Studios, which is built by Limbach Lumber, family owned and serving the Northwest since 1930. The Northwest premier supplier of specialized lumber and moldings. Summer is here. That means deck and fence season. Give them a call. Let the fine folks at Limbach Lumber take care of you like they've taken care of me. 206-782-3487, and visit them online at limbachlumber.com. The Puck Sports Studios, built by Limbach Lumber. It's a Friday. That means our second visit of the week. I think we should visit with him every day. I think he'd be on board with that. It's our good friend Ryan Divish of the Seattle Times, famed Mariners beat reporter, the probably best in shape reporter that we have in the city of Seattle. He is built on Crown Royal and fish tacos and hot dogs from Reds and whatever else. And his bi-weekly appearance, is brought to you by Chalet Bowl. Chalet Bowl is Washington's oldest operating bowling alley, established in 1941 and located in Tacoma's Proctor District. Family owned and operated for 40 years. The Frederick family specializes in customer service for your bowling, food, and fun experience while at their unique 12-lane facility. Get a reservation today, chaletbowl.com. And once again, we find you on the bed. You've done these shows on laying down like George Costanza on a bed.
I know, the Wi-Fi here in this hotel is a little wonky, and so by the desk it wasn't very good, and so I don't know. And if I'm gonna do it every day, Reggie's gonna have to buy some more bowling alleys because I'm not.
Well, one of these days we'll get you exclusive. I think there was another video that I saw of you yesterday. You were on another show.
I told you I'm a podcast whore.
You should start branding yourself. Start wearing Ryan Divish t-shirts or something. Should we start your own Divish brand?
No. I don't like that branding stuff. Build your brand, like they say on Twitter. That's when you get writers going, I asked and told me, and all that good stuff, self-promoting their work incessantly. It just drives me nuts. So
you don't like that?
No, I hate that. One of the first things you learn in a real journalism school is that it's not about you. The story's not about you. Don't make yourself part of the story. That includes on social media where you say, I asked, told me, I did this, I did that. I don't give a fuck what you did. Just give me the information.
But it's changed though, right? I mean, the way that when you first got started in journalism, it's vastly different then than it is now.
Right? Yeah, because of social media and because that's the aspect that wasn't there. You were kind of just anonymous in a lot of ways, but you've had with social media, with blogs, all this other stuff. Guys made their beat coverage more about them than they were about the team. It's what I think of the Mariners and stuff. And so a lot of people ask me, it's I don't always have thoughts on the Mariners. When I go home after the game, the last thing I want to do is think about the Mariners, So, it's different because it's some people, just some journalists just make it about them. They're the expert, and all this and that.
Right.
There's a lot of shit I don't know. I mean, and the one thing is in baseball, if you think they go out of their way to prove that you're wrong. Players and coaches and managers. So I'm more receptive to just, whatever the reporting aspect of it. Ask somebody if you think you should probably ask somebody just to verify, because that's the one thing with players. I always tell them, I'll never take a cheap shot at you, and I'll never question whether you're hurt or you weren't playing hard without asking you. Those are the things, because it's just kind of the common ethics of it all. But we don't do that anymore. It's kind of so much of social media is kind of the whole, it's ready, shoot, aim, they go react first and think about it later.
Yeah. The desire to get stuff out. I mean, but it's good though, because it's become, the beat reporter has become more of a personality. Back in the day, I mean, I know they're there weren't these platforms. But I don't, Bob, I'm thinking Bob Finnegan. I mean, I don't think, how many interviews did Bob Finnegan do? Like, did people want to know what Bob Finnegan thought about the Mariners? I mean, he's there to ask questions, and he's there to, like, hey, why did you, not to give his personal thoughts, but hey, why'd you bunt in that situation?
Yeah.
I
Well,
mean,
it's like,
I'm like, that's what his readers want to know.
yeah, and like Finney was probably a little more outgoing, but like Larry LaRue never did a bunch of radio or talk. He was kind of anonymous in a lot of ways. Social media has offered a platform, so people think they kind of know you by what you put out there. And early on when I was on Twitter, I'd put it out there a little bit more, like kind of some of my personal stuff, whatever, personal life, or at least allow people an idea of what they think who they think I am. But like, I mean, like there's a persona out there that I'm mean and kind of a dick and don't like people, and it's 99% true. Drink a little bit too much, I mean, like it's 99% true. I like dogs.
You like dogs. You are, but I would say this. I think when you and I sit down, I think people get, I think they get that through your writing, but I think people get, like, when you and I sit here and talk for, 20, 30, 40 minutes. I mean, this is kind of you. I mean, this is who you are. You're not different. We don't hang up here and then you're like, oh, like you turn into somebody completely different. I mean,
No. I mean, like like the idea, like, and if people come up and talk to me a lot, or if they recognize me, I don't take that for granted. I certainly don't ignore them. Like if somebody comes up and say, hey, I like your work, or hey, what are the Mariners going to do? I always will click on the on switch and hey, yeah, no, like I'll talk. I mean, like I'm not a dick like that. I don't like, I don't have any celebrity like mindset. It's like, yeah, no, cool. I appreciate anybody that takes the time to read anything I write, and regardless if they think I'm a moron or they hate everything I write. If you take the time to read it, I appreciate it.
Well,
so that way I know it's not just my mom reading my stuff.
But that's important though. I mean, I think that's a great perspective to have, because I think anybody, whatever they do for a living, what we happen to do for a living, it's just public, right? But if anyone got stopped on the street, let's just, take John, who's an IT guy, but yet somebody stopped him on the street. Hey, John, I've seen your IT work, man. It's really good. I appreciate what you do in IT. I mean, you would be, everybody likes to be told, I like what you do. There's nothing wrong with that.
I think there's, like, with the radio podcasting, there is a level of kind of intimacy or like realism. Like I'll say this about, like, at least you guys at KGR, because I've known you guys the longest. Softy is who he is. Like the fanboy and the insane person, that's Softy. There are aspects of him that might be a little inflated on the radio because you're going for that, but like, he's the same person. Chuck is weird on the radio. Chuck is weird in person. Like, I mean, like, I'm looking at him and going, you wrote those weird books. You probably have human heads in your basement. It's okay.
Bucky
and, like,
hates analytics.
Yes, no. And then, like, and Furness's old Canadian dad, like he's, that's who they are. I mean, like, I think that's important, that there's a consistency level there. And I mean, like, I try and provide the same. Like, I try to be consistent with who I am. Do I play up the grouch factor a little bit, or how much I usually hate people? Yeah, I don't hate all people. There's like a good 0.01% of the population that I like.
Define
I'll never forget. So you'll love this. So I at the times, I'm not considered one of the best coworkers that I. So there was a guy that used to work there, and he was in sports for a bit. And me and him got into it about some stuff, and he sent this email, and he says, Ryan, I feel like if we just went out and had a beer together, I think we could be friends. And I wrote back, I don't drink with people I don't like. I have enough effing friends. Just do your job and leave me alone. And he showed it to my boss, and so then I got in trouble.
Is it now? You're not gonna name the person, but is this somebody we would know?
No, it wouldn't be something.
Oh, okay. So it's somebody behind the scenes at the
Yeah, he was like a
pay-per-view.
producer and stuff like that.
Oh man,
Yeah,
that's an all-timer.
I had the other one was, why do you just say these
Oh.
things at these meetings? And I said, well, you ask me what I think. What do you want me to do? Lie?
I mean, that's the thing. You asked a question. I gave you an answer.
Yeah.
Exactly right. I got to tell the
Don't ask
truth.
me. I stopped getting invited to a lot of those meetings because
Did
I
you?
just want
Yeah. Shocker.
to. Yeah.
Shocker that you. Well, I'll say this for the viewer and the listener. I will say this. I'm gonna praise you here for a second. I'm gonna embarrass you a little bit. Having been around Ryan for many years and many times in the clubhouse, there is no one that has the respect more of the players and coaches than that guy right there.
Oh, I don't know about that.
Ah, yes, you do. There is no one that those players like and respect, and they understand his job, and they treat him as such. Not that they all get along with him, but no one, I think, walks into that clubhouse and commands, I think, more respect from a media standpoint than Ryan Divish of the Seattle Times. So you tell your bosses at the Times that should be a raise for you. Okay,
Yeah.
should be a raise. I see it. I see it firsthand. It's okay. Take a compliment. It's okay.
I can't. I don't handle compliments well. So let's move
Now
on.
you know who they hate, reader, or you know who they hate, viewer and listener? Jude. They
Oh
hate
yeah.
Jude.
Yeah.
They
Well, I
hate
mean,
him.
you can't look young and good looking. That's it. Players don't like that.
We
Why
love.
the hell is? I mean, I would say that they call him Nick Lachey, but none of those players are old enough to even know who the hell Nick Lachey is.
They don't even know who Nick Lachey is. They would have no idea if you said Nick Lachey, who the hell he was. All right. So last time we talked about the Santos. He looked great. He didn't pitch in the Angels game. Now I'm blank. Did he pitch? Was it the second game of the Padres or the first game?
The first game.
The first game. That's right.
3.
The second game was a great one. Some great defensive plays. France, Julio, JP to end the game. They have started off this road trip great. This is exactly what they need heading into this All-Star break because they were scuffling, and now they've, at least in the last 3, have kind of turned it around.
Yeah, I mean, it's beat the teams you should beat, and like to do what they did to the Padres, you hold them to essentially 3 runs. Over 2 games. The Padres are one of the better hitting offenses. You know, it's kind of in some of the basic metrics. That doesn't happen very often. So do that, and then it's funny. It's like everybody, because I mean I've seen it before, but like the crap pitcher that shuts down the Mariners and has the career high in strikeouts. Well, you know what? Adam Major didn't do that. He's been bad this year. He stayed bad. The Mariners beat him up. And the poor kid who made the debut, Kohanowitz or whatever, yesterday. I mean, 5 straight hits to start the game. Only a base running, only a really good throw by Mickey Moniak keeps it from being more runs. They had, I think, 6 hits in the first inning. So, I don't know. They beat up on pitchers they should beat up on. They got hits. Then, and I mean, like, if you can, I know like Julio went 4 for 4, then went golden sombrero, then had 3 hits. I think you still are excited. What Cal Raleigh's done in the last few games, but even Polanco, 5 hits in 3 games. Like knock me over with a feather.
Do you know he is hitting like since I declared him to be done that they need to finish off? He's hitting 455.
Yeah,
What is it always? It always works out that way.
Yeah, there's a reason why you're not a Vegas tout. I mean, like it's just the way
it's true.
It is. So, no, I mean, like, for whatever went wrong in the last 6 series before this, they won another one. They're playing a bad team. If they win 3 out of 4, if they take 4 out of 4, they go into the break. Then that's all you can do. You can't control whether or not the Astros are playing well. I mean, that series coming out of the break is going to be chaos at T-Mobile Park. But like, yeah, just go play. It's funny though. I was looking and like the Yankees are in a similar stretch to what the Mariners endured, and then you go back and look. Obviously, the Astros had that horrible stretch to start the season. The the Rangers have had their issues. There was a stretch where the Dodgers, I think, lost 10 out of like 14 or something. Like, there's always these spots during the season. It just feels worse for fans when it's your own team, but it's going to happen, and now you have to figure out a way to get out of it. And they're starting to play a lot better, especially offensively.
Yeah, and then you've touched on it before, but the reason they're playing better offensively is, I mean, we can talk about all the acquisitions they had of the offseason, but it's because of the three leaders on their team, the three guys that they need to perform well. It's Cal Raleigh's last 2 weeks, he's been on fire. JP has gotten a little bit better. And certainly Julio, since we've turned into the month of July, he's been better. It's if those three guys go, then everybody kind of falls into place, whether it relaxes them or whatever the case may be. But it's really those three. We can pound on Garver and Polanco and Haniger and all those other guys, but it's really if those three are right, then they will score enough runs with their pitching staff to make them almost unbeatable every night.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. Like, those three guys are batting in the top of your order, and they're getting the most plate appearances, and they're coming up with the most runners in scoring position, do the damage, and they did it. I really like, if you look at it, just even in the strikeout game aside, like, if you watch Julio last night, he wasn't trying to swing at those inside pitches unless he knew he could hit them. Like, I think there's been a better understanding of what he's trying to do. And, I think that's important. And I mean, like, Cal Raleigh's got 19 homers right now. and man, when he gets on these kind of little heaters, it's pretty impressive, because it's just not, it's just not normal to see that kind of production from the catching standpoint. You just don't see that for teams.
There's so many good catchers in the American League. I was just looking at it today. It's unbelievable how many good catchers there are.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing, is like, will Cal Raleigh stay in the American League, or will he go somewhere else? Who knows?
Well, what do you mean? What are you trying to hint at? I don't like that.
Well, I mean, his agent was sitting right next to the dugout last night. Boris is in his normal seats in the Diamond Club there, hanging out. I should have talked to him. I didn't get a chance to pregame. Maybe I'll talk to him today if he's there.
Yeah, how about that? Can you go down and talk to him today and be like, what is it going to take? I just want to know, because it was one of the list of one of the things I wanted to ask you was, is there any rumblings at all about locking him up, or I would just want to know this: have the Mariners presented an extension to him recently? Do we know that at all?
That'd be a good question. I don't know. I mean, I know that they always have preliminary, just kind of like, hey, we'd love to do something like this. I mean, Scott traditionally wants his guys to go to the market to maximize value. He has, in the past, signed extensions with teams, Jared Weaver being one of them. It's just a matter of what the player wants. And you know what? It's perfectly fair for Cal Raleigh to be in a little bit of a wait-and-see mode here on this organization, this franchise, given what's transpired the last few years. I mean, like, do I think it helps that Cal bought a house in Arizona near the team's complex? Yeah, absolutely, it helps them. It shows that, like, he's kind of invested in this, wanting to be there in that area and not going all the way back to North Carolina in the offseason every year. It's not the whole Trey Turner thing where you live in Carolina and Florida. So maybe this is something that, it's a possibility, but that's a lot of, they're gonna have to invest a lot of money. Like, that's the one thing too. Scott Boras is going to he's not going to let Cal just take the Andres Munoz contract or the Evan White contract, obviously, and they've done more now. You're going to have to make a real offer. I don't know what that is. I'd have to go. I mean, the one thing that hurts Cal is he's older, right now, and that may be a reason why he'd want to sign the extension is, hey, look, I'm getting old. I'm older for this. By the time I'm a free agent, I think he'd be 30, 31.
31 years old.
Yeah, he'll be 31 when he's a free agent.
Yep.
Yeah, so he may want to. I don't know what Real Muto was when he was a free agent. I think he was about 29. So
he was 29. He was 29 when he signed a 5-year, $115 million. Will Smith was 28 when he signed his 10-year, $140. Contreras was 30. when he signed 5 years, 87. Salvador Perez was 31 when he signed 4 years, 82 million. I mean, Ryan, he's gonna surpass his RBI total for sure. He's at 59 right now, and his career high 75. He's got a great chance, and he probably is going to eclipse his home run mark, which he set last year at 30. He's got 19, and we're not at the break yet. I mean, he's going to put up offensively numbers that are going to, surpass anything that he's ever done in the league. And I think, to your point, and I think it's a good one, that I think that he has been so outspoken about where this organization is and what they want to be and what the ownership wants to be, that you're right, he does have some time, because he can sit back. Well, I want to know, before I sign here, I want to know how serious you guys are. And I've got 4 years to decide it. But then he also has to weigh I am leaving a lot of money out on the table right now. I mean, what is he making this year? He's making the minimum. He's making $780,000, isn't he?
Yeah, he makes the minimum, so he'll get. I think he's arbitration eligible next year, so he's not. Yeah, he'll make some money next year though. Him and Logan, George getting paid next year too. So yeah, that's the thing. Like that's the risk, especially playing the position he's playing. Can you? Because like we're just talking about offense. Let's not. He's thrown out more runners than anybody in baseball. He's considered to be one of the best defensive catchers in baseball. His pitchers, if they were to trade Cal Raleigh, his pitchers would mutiny. Not that they are, but like that. I mean, like the value that he brings, the leadership quotient. I mean, and I like it because he's kind of a grumpus too at times, and he gets so angry at pitchers and stuff like that. Me and him get along very well, because I think there's a lot of the same personality traits there. And so, yeah, he gets, I think he gets sick of the pitchers. They're annoying. I mean, like when I was in college, I hated all the pitchers. You have to be around them. You feel like you're babysitting them. And he's just, he sometimes got that old man vibe to him, which I like. It's like, no patience he suffers no fools. Cal doesn't. So it's like, no.
Do you think I'm just curious, based on how this organization in the past has treated players that speak out, right? And it's been, they haven't treated those players kindly sometimes. You've seen where they haven't offered them contracts, or they've let them go. Do you think they are hesitant at all to give him money, maybe ownership, because of how outspoken he can be? Because he does share his opinions on where they should be, and I wonder if ownership is a little leery of that.
If that's the case, then they're soft and they're stupid. Honestly, you sit there and you have a manager that tells these guys to be themselves, be a good teammate, whatever. Like, I don't think anybody questions whether or not Cal Raleigh is a good teammate. I don't think anybody questions the effort level or his commitment to the organization. If you can't come out and be a little critical, sometimes, believe me, as somebody who likes to be critical of the organization that employs him, yes. Like, if you can't do that, we're all adults here. This is hard. Professional sports. Like, you're going to take criticism from every aspect of it. Why can't you take some criticism from the players that understand it a little bit, that are there? I mean, like, no, that would be just unbelievably stupid if they held it against him, because what he said wasn't like he was taking a shot at the ownership. He never called them cheap. He never said like these guys don't care about winning. All he said is like, we got to do more. We need to do more, because he felt like they were close and he was frustrated about losing that. But you're right. Like, I was thinking about this. If you're going to sign an extension, like, he wants to know, because he saw what happened to Seager. Seager signed the $100 million extension with the idea that this team was going to try and build and get better. And then what happened is towards the end of it, they pulled the plug, and they said, we're going to rebuild and redo that. Like, Cal Raleigh doesn't want to do that. You think you want to get the shit beat out of you behind the plate for a team with a bunch of kids out there? No, you want to go out and win. If you're gonna take that sort of punishment, you want to do it for a team that's going to win. So I think that's where, that's the aspect that the Mariners have to also provide. Is like, hey, we're doing this, this, and this. And I think he needs to probably see signs of it. I mean, like, honestly, I always thought that like the Red Sox, because his grandma grew up in Vermont, his dad grew up in Vermont, all that stuff. Dad was a Red Sox fan growing up, or like the Braves because of um, the proximity to North Carolina, all that stuff would be factors for him, you know. And I don't know. I mean, even like let's say the Nationals go big here in the next couple of years. They try and build around C.J. Abrams, and they've got that core group together, and they want to supplement. They did that before when they brought in Jason Worth to that younger group of teams. So like there's a market for Cal Raleigh on the free agents. I can think of a lot of teams that would love to have him. Um, it's whether or not the Mariners can offer something to Cal, not to Boris, but to Cal, to convince Cal that this is where they want, and it's fair market value.
Yeah. But you don't like, it's your opinion that Boris would advise him to let's wait till we're a free agent. Because his free agent not going to be a free agent until 2028. So you got 4 more years. That's what you think, that Boris is advising him.
Yeah, because Boris has the binder of stuff, like, with comparatives and stuff, and he can point to Real Muto. But, like, he could also point to Will Smith. Will Smith found an organization he wanted to stay with. He got the contract extension. He stayed there. I mean, same with Salvi Perez. Salvador Perez signed that one extension, but he signed kind of like a Evan White deal right when he came out.
Mm-hmm.
And so, yeah, that's the one thing, too, is the comparison aspect of catchers is different. I was trying to think of who was the Brewers catcher a few years ago, Jonathan, somebody or other, that was a really good hitter, and like everybody was trading for him and wanted him, and then he got banged up and he was done quick. He aged out fast, but I can't remember what his name is.
Brewers catcher Jonathan.
Yeah, Jonathan. I think.
Well, what do you think his LaCroix? Not Jonathan LaCroix.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, LaCroix.
What do you think when we start talking money? I mean, are we talking what Realmuto is? Are we talking 5 years, 115? I mean, I know it's going to change. I mean, it's going to change in 4 years, but in that neighborhood of Will Smith, 10 years, 140. Is that what we're thinking?
They probably should start with 100.
Yeah.
How you space out the money, you should guarantee the 100. I mean, like, the WAR metric alone says that, in the WAR for Fangraphs, it's $8 million for every one WAR, but like, how do you measure even the WAR for Cal Raleigh, what he means to the organization? Not to mention, like, like Julio is kind of the face of the franchise. But Cal is one of the leaders, and I think every grandma from here to freaking Yakima and all parts of the Northwest loves Cal Raleigh. Every grouchy grandfather that thinks players should choke up with 2 strikes and everything loves Cal Raleigh. They like you should
choke up with 2 strikes. But.
You don't get some of these guys. These guys don't come around all the time.
Right.
Like the old Mariners were smart. Like whatever. Like Dan Wilson wasn't a great hitter per se. Like he was a good hitter, but like
he's a good catcher though. That's what you want your catcher to be though, is what Dan Wilson was.
His value to the organization was huge.
Yeah.
And look at how long they spent trying to replace him and the number of names. I could list them off. Ben Davis, Miguel Olivo, Rene Rivera, Rob Johnson, Jeff Clement, Kenji Jojima,
Adam Moore.
I mean, like, yeah, so it's hard. I mean, they already got the
Borders.
Oh yeah, Pat International Borders. They still got the curse of Robinson Cano at second base. Here you have a stabilizing factor at probably the most important position in baseball, and like I said, that's the problem. Like it's Boris, so he made up. But that's it. Like Cal doesn't think like normal baseball players. He grew up with a dad that was a Division I college coach. He has different standards and expectations, and I think there is a comfort level too for him. Like he likes what he likes.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. I mean, like reward him so he can actually afford to buy a house in freaking Seattle.
Yeah,
I mean, think about this.
He probably. I mean, honestly, he probably can't based on what he makes. I mean, he's poor. He's honestly poor living here.
he's renting a house with Woo, for God's sakes. Like,
Oh,
you
Jesus.
know, him and Woo live together. I liked it better when him and Gilbert and Taylor Trammell lived together, and
Yeah.
Brash, all four of them. Can you imagine that?
Mm.
But no, like, yeah, that's something they have to. Even if you know that Scott Boras is who Scott Boras is, that doesn't mean you don't ask. That doesn't mean you don't try.
Well, yeah, and that's what I mean. Remember, we talked to several weeks ago. There was that picture of them. I don't know where they are. I think that maybe they were in Modesto or something. And then you had that picture of Depoto
Yeah.
and Boris talking, and you just wonder if maybe they're doing anything as they're spending time in Anaheim. Do we know, is Depoto on the trip?
No, because it's draft. They're all
Oh,
in the
that's right.
draft room. So, and Depoto doesn't go to Anaheim.
He likes to stay away.
Well, I mean, would you really want to go someplace where like your whole
Oh,
career almost ended because of a pissing contest between you and a dinosaur of a manager and an owner that's clearly lost it?
yeah.
And like this team sucks. This Anaheim team
Oh, they're
sucks so
terrible. If
bad.
that pitcher last night is their seventh rated prospect in the organization, they've got problems.
Yeah, I asked Jeff Fletcher of the OC Register. I go, so is this Kitty Giddles? He's the number 7 prospect in the worst farm system in baseball.
Yeah,
So
that was rough.
that
That was a hard watch.
he's part of the class of 21 or whatever, where they took 25 pitchers or whatever it was, and none of
And none of them are good.
no, I think Reed Detmers was the best one out of there, and he's in the minor leagues because he stunk so bad.
Hey, we talked about some of the off the radar trades, and we brought up Lamont Wade Jr. the other day on a Wednesday show. We talked about Cody Bellinger, and then Cody Bellinger gets hit on the hand and now is out, which just sucks because I want to see Cody Bellinger here. But now who knows what the Cubs are going to do with him? I mean, who knows when he's going to be back? He's not going to play the rest of the first half, and he's on the 10-day IL, and we'll see what happens even when he comes back. But
Maybe that lowers the asking price, though.
yeah, maybe.
But I mean,
I
like,
think
if you're the Cubs, then why would you do it? Like, maybe you just wait till the offseason or something. If he comes back really strong and then trade him in the offseason, I don't know.
Well, I don't know if it was you or Duquette, or did you bring up Danny Jansen of the Blue Jays?
Danny Jansen. So like that way they have coverage. You know, like every time Cal takes one off the can, foul, and that guy, I've never seen a catcher take more foul tips off.
It's just ridiculous.
The mommy daddy spot than him.
Does he wear 2 cups? I'd go 2 cups.
I mean, like, would you wear 2 cups? My thumb hurt watching Gregory Santos throw the other night, and the amount of run on that sinker, like that hurts your thumb so much. But like, yeah, I don't Jansen, because he's a buy low guy and he's a rental. It's a half season rental. But it's a rental for something that is minimal on the fringes of the roster. But the one thing is the guy can hit a bit.
Yeah,
he's having a down year. He's got some power. He can catch, and that way you're not like you don't run the risk of having to have Luis Castillo hit again, which I still think is amazing. I do think that like when they do the 2 catcher thing now, it'll always be kind of
well, they're going to have to take one. I mean, Raleigh can't play.
Yeah,
they just can't do that.
Yeah,
they can't do that again.
And so I think, because I don't think like if you're going to do that now, like if you're going to carry a guy, just get somebody like Jansen. There might even be somebody else. I haven't even looked at the backup catcher thing.
Well, Jansen makes sense just because, and that's why you brought him up on Wednesdays, just because we all feel that Toronto, they're going to sell everyone, probably minus Bichette and Guerrero, but he's an unrestricted free agent at the end of the year. He's making 5.2 this year, and so you get him for half a season, and yeah, he's a good backup, hits well. You're right, hasn't hit well this year, but again, he's a better option than Zavala.
Yeah. I mean, like, he'll give you a better at bat. He'll give you a professional at bat. I mean, like, at least if he runs into one, it's a homer. Like Zavala has no.
What do you from an organization standpoint, and you see like Jim Bowden comes out this week and says, the Astros are going to be aggressive, and they're going to be aggressive at first base like a lot of teams. And they mentioned, he mentioned all the regulars that are going to be available, and Alonso and Bellinger, and then mentioned Walker. Now again, he's just mentioning names that everybody has mentioned, but the Astros need help at first base, and we all think that they will make some type of aggressive move because they're only 2 games back right now of Seattle. What if you're Dipoto and Hollander, do you have to keep tabs on that and make sure, like, do you acquire one of these guys to keep them away from Houston? I'm just curious of how they juggle that, how they have conversations about what other teams are going to do, and do we do something to prevent that team from getting that player? And who would Mariner fans be more fearful of if they acquired Alonso or Walker? My guess would be Walker, but I don't know. What do you think?
Yeah, probably Walker. I mean, Alonso, though, like either or. Like Alonso hits a ton of fly balls to left field. They play in a park where your kid could hit one out at, and then flip off the crowd when he's done. You know, with the wrong finger.
We're trying to get him not to flip anybody off anymore.
Yeah, you know, you let the kid grow his hair out like that. That's part of the problem. It's just, you know, he's a malcontent degenerate is what he's going to turn into. Looks like a hood. I mean, like you let him look like Kelly Leak. He's going to act like Kelly Leak. Pretty soon he's going to be wearing a buckskin jacket with smoking cigarettes on an old like Yamaha motorcycle.
Hey, goals, dad goals.
So like, no, I don't know though. I just don't know if the Mets are going to trade Alonso.
Yeah, I don't know.
Kind of, but like, you know who I wouldn't be surprised like Houston could get, because Houston don't have great prospects. Like their farm system is really down. Like I guess for like the rentals, you might not have to give up as much, but again, like you know, there are going to be multiple teams. Like if Christian Walker is available, it's not just going to be the Astros, so they could get a better prospect package. Probably they wait. I look at it like Josh Bell, who is from Texas, might fit them a little bit better. You know, he's going to cost you money, but not maybe as much prospects. And that's the Marlins. They'll probably do something stupid. But yeah, I still think like if you're Houston, don't you have to go get Eric Fetty? You know, don't you have to get a pitcher? What if they got Yusei? You say, I say.
Yeah, because Kikuchi's they're gonna part ways with him. Yeah, I mean, of course
they need a pitcher. Like the Astros, like you know, they're rolling out guys I've never even heard of half the time, and I'm still like we're starting to see it. Like I know Verlander threw the other day, but other guys like Lance McCullers done for a while. You know, like they don't have starters, and what we're gonna see is because of some of the starters being run hard, you know, their bullpen's going to take a beating too. So I would think that their first focus would be a starter. And then, you know, if they can get both. Like, you know, a few years ago they added that guy that I don't even know if he's in baseball anymore. The one guy from Baltimore. They've added some pieces, but I think they're going to add a pitcher first. If they if they can supplement at first base, fine, so be it. But
yeah, and again, this that's just you're throwing names out there. I mean, I would be shocked if the Mets move them. I mean, they're tied right now, or they're a game back. No, they're they are they're the final team right now. As we record this on Friday, they are tied with the Padres for the final slot, the wild card spot, and then the D-backs are game back. So I mean, I don't know how you sell that to your fan base that we're trading away, Walker or Alonso. Yet we're in the playoff race right now. That would not go over well.
I mean, there are teams that have traded their closer on the deadline too. So like,
it's true, it happens,
but it's not an everyday player.
Yeah.
And the thing is like, if you're Steve Cohen and the owner of the Mets. God, that would be great. How much money you'd have for Steve Cohen.
Oh.
If the prospect that you would get back or prospects for Pete Alonso on a rental deal aren't significant enough to help you as compared to the blowback you would receive if you traded them when you're in this position
right now.
You know, like just you've allowed yourself to get into this position by not re-signing him, and you could still re-sign him. That's another thing is you can still re-sign him. Maybe, you know, like Alonso just looks around and says, I don't want to do this. I just want to stay here in New York and I want to play for this team. And you go through, especially if they make the postseason, maybe that's what you do. So I just don't know that from a prospect versus, you know, perception loss and everything else, what you gain from trading him versus like staying in it and trying to win. Because that's always what Cohen said from the very beginning. He was going to try and win and do things differently. Well, that's not what you do.
All right, well, we'll cut you loose. Enjoy your time in Anaheim. Try to get away from the screaming kids. We appreciate the time. Ryan Divish joins us every Wednesday and Friday. It's brought to you by Chalet Bowl. Book your next bowling reservation at the famous bowling alley that the Frederick family has had in their name for the past 40 years. ChaletBowl.com, located in beautiful Proctor District of Tacoma.
Did you ever take your kids down here to Disneyland? Have you taken them here?
Oh, yeah. I love Disneyland.
I think it's like $250 a person now. Though,
It's stupid. It's just dumb.
I love
It's
Disney
so
too,
damn
like
expensive.
$250.
It's stupid, but
And that's
God,
not
I
even
love
with,
it.
like the fast pass and everything.
I know. That's the thing when you're just waiting in line forever. Yeah.
They opened the new water park here. Supposedly, my girlfriend is coming down on Sunday to hang out for a few days during the All-Star break, and so we'll hit Newport and some of that stuff. But she mentioned Disney. I'm like, but I did the
Hard
perfect
pass.
Oh no, I said I'd go, but don't you think your kids would be upset if me and you went? And then
You didn't take them?
Yeah, no, she's not coming down. They're not bringing them down. So, I don't know, but it's at this hotel. When Greg Johns used to be on the beat, we'd come back if we could, and we'd sit in the hotel bar, and we'd watch these poor bastards come back from Disneyland at 11 o'clock at night. The fireworks just got over with. They're dragging like half asleep kids across the floor. They're just mom and dad look beaten down by life, and the best part is like the dad would stop. Okay, comes in, grabs 2 beers to go upstairs. Then the mom would come back down and grab her like 7 glasses of Chardonnay and go back up. And like we just sit there and laugh, and Greg would be like, "Oh man, it doesn't look like a very enjoyable time." Like just mumble. It was so great. It was like one of my favorite things, just watching these poor bastards come in. Like God. They look beaten down by life.
It's a rite of passage of being a parent, man.
They're wearing the Disney ears.
Yeah, all of it.
They got shit everywhere. They're like, oh God, no. This one mom
they've
came
ate
in.
Nothing but crap the whole day.
Yeah, the one mom comes in and she goes, "Hey, I'm just gonna get a glass of wine while my husband puts the kids to bed." She drank like a Myrtle or like a Cabernet in one drink. It was like me playing like quarters, having a shotgun beers. She did. I was like, good Lord.
It's hard being a parent at Disneyland. It's hard.
Then she orders, she was like, you could tell she's been in a bar a few times. Then she ordered, she was like, oh, that tasted pretty good. So then she goes, Cabernet, and plus a shot of Patron.
Oh, Jesus.
I was like, holy, that's a mix.
I have never seen, in all the years of being at a bar, I have never seen someone order a glass of wine and a shot.
Yeah, and then again, Greg's like, oh, you don't do that every day. I'm like, yeah, no. It was
you have a wonderful Greg Johns impersonation.
I know.
It's really good.
If he actually listened to podcasts, he'd get mad about this, but
he probably would.
Like you get around these guys, it's like the fields. I don't know, fastball pretty good, change up pretty good. I don't know. Yeah. What's up, Pitbull? What you doing?
I love that. But he was always my favorite because they'd say the same thing after every interview. All right, we'll cut you loose. We'll talk to you soon. Enjoy your weekend, and we'll see you on Wednesday.
Sounds good.
There he is, Ryan Divish, all brought to you by Chalet Bowl every Wednesday and Friday as we drop the episodes here at Puck Sports and pucksports.com.